Rob, Karan, thanks very much for joining us. Rob, I wanted to start just by asking you a bit about carbon capture. I mean, talk us through the development of that sector and where it's at now.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. So carbon capture is the first step in a broader term called carbon capture utilization and storage. It also has some connection to direct air capture. The entire space has developed greatly over the last 10 to 15 years, where now we're actually seeing a lot of projects being deployed. Much of that has been driven by policy and a lot of capital, and of course, innovators like myself that have been able to bring these kinds of technologies out of the lab through that pilot phase and are now starting to scale at very meaningful sizes that are actually having real CO2 impacts.
And you're sort of managing to hit what had previously been quite sort of hard to abate sectors. Tell us about that.
So CarbonCure, which I'm the CEO and founder, works in the cement sector. And cement is what's called a hard to abate sector. It accounts for about 7% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. And it's not just the size that's the issue here, but it's a very difficult industry because most of those emissions are not attributed to energy use, so the burning of fossil fuels. It's actually the chemical process. So it's really tricky because you need to develop entirely different toolkits of climate solutions that may not be as useful in other industries like utilities or like the power sector. So what CarbonCure does is we actually take CO2, which is the problem in the first place, and re-inject that back into concrete as it's being made. A chemical reaction occurs where that CO2, which was once released into the atmosphere, is now stored and locked away as a stone within concrete, and it actually makes the concrete stronger, which provides concrete producers the ability to lower their cost and still deliver a green product in the market. We're at a point now where we're scaling all around the world, but we just can't go fast enough for the pace of climate change.
I mean, that's a remarkable innovation. Karan, that's one brilliant solution to the huge spectrum of problems that we're facing. Clearly, we need more. Talk us through sort of just the plethora of problems that we need to be addressing.
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges is this costs money. And today, you don't pay for emissions, right? You just emit into the environment and society bears that cost. But we're trying to move to a world where we address all of those. And in order to fund it, you need to come up with innovative ways. One of the exciting things about what CarbonCure does is they actually find a way to usefully use the CO2, which can actually help bring down costs.
Make cement stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a win-win.
Exactly. There are many other solutions that are necessary. The most common is burial of some sort. Basically, you take CO2, you inject it underground, and it mineralizes, it stays there forever. But it's important that we address multiple different pathways here because the volumes that we're looking at, multiple gigatons per year, is just such a massive quantity that no one pathway will be sufficient.
And is government policy keeping up with this? What would you like to see happening on that score?
Yeah, it's exciting to see that policies are starting to emerge that will address both driving demand for removals as well as supporting how you actually store it long term. But where we are today is we're not far enough. We need to see more policy that's going to basically make removal of CO2 a requirement as opposed to today where it's primarily done through voluntary means. Basically today, the leading companies will choose to do removals to offset their emissions. We need to get to a world where, much like any other industrial waste, pollution, etc., those who are driving the most pollution have to clean it up. And there are a lot of different mechanisms that can be used to drive that, things like emissions trading schemes, border carbon adjustments, and many others.
Well, thank you both for joining us with such innovative solutions and hope for the future. Karan and Rob, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.